James here. Today we're going to be talking about Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Jeff. So I've read a lot of reviews about this book since I finished it yesterday, and a few of those book reviews considered this book to have a dreamlike quality. And you know what? I can certainly agree with that, and I share that opinion because I fell asleep dozens of times trying to read this book. I really hated this book a lot, really. I didn't think it was very good. It was so boring. I was so bored almost every page. This book is very short. It's 200 pages long, 195 pages actually. It's a svelte book. It's slim, but it took me all of a week to read it. I was expecting to be done with it in a couple of days. Didn't happen. The reason why is I literally couldn't keep my eyes open whilst reading it. It's so dull. I was so bored. So let's talk about what is this book about. This book is about 4 scientists that go into a place called Area X, and that's it. That's really all it's about, because they don't really discover anything. They don't do any science. They've got no reason to go. They've got no personalities or names. So Jeff Vandermeer, he decided to make this. He made this decision, right? It's a conscious decision to strip away the characterization of the characters. So instead of a character's name, they're just defined by their job. So it's the biologist, the surveyor, the psychologist, and the anthropologist. He made all of these characters female for really no reason. He may as well not have bothered to mention the gender, because it really made no impact on the story at all, to have them all be women. It's fine that he made them women, but I mean, it could have just been men. It's never really referenced. So, you know, like, it's just one of these things. And it's what I was trying to convey with the Numenon review, that the representation of different genders and ideas in that book are done so well, because the backgrounds they come from influence the character. In this, nothing influences the character, because there is no character. The biologist is a biologist, and therefore all I really know about the biologist is that they at one point did a degree in biology. Like, we get to learn some bits about the biologist in, like, flashbacks, but I found those parts really frustrating as well, because they didn't really connect with the present day stuff. And I feel like Jeff Vandermeer was really high on himself whilst writing this book. He thought what he was doing was really smart with the flashbacks and stuff. And I get this impression because a lot of the times he uses the word, "oh, I thought, and it was profound," or, you know, "it was so insightful." It's like, you can't just toot your own horn like that. There's nothing profound or insightful in this book. There's all this gibberish that is repeated over and over, that is like faux biblical kind of text, but it doesn't fucking mean anything. It's like he keeps bringing it up, like, "oh my god, you see what I'm doing? You see what I'm doing, guys?" It's like, I mean, I guess it's just some like spooky words, mate. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. The real flaw, the real problem that Annihilation has is that it doesn't have characters. And when you don't have characters, you can't really have a story, because a story is developed from conflict your characters experience when pursuing their goals. But the characters in this don't really have goals, and it sort of ruins everything, because you can't understand the characters. therefore when they act certain ways and they do certain things, it's less of a you know, tense character moment and more of a, I guess the plot just says they go crazy now, or I guess the plot just says they run away now. There's no personalities. No one has a real personality. No one has any motives. No one really encounters any conflict. It's just a damp squib. It's so boring. Like, it's just hard to put into words because there's so little to go on. You know, this story worked well in the film adaptation. As you can see now, major film directed by Alex Garland. Correct, it is. It worked well in the film, and why it worked well in the film and not well in the book is because look how short the book is. Most of it is dedicated to like flashbacks to the biologist being miserable. And being like, I don't care about anything. That's like the cut, and so that's like the main point of the biologist's character, is that she doesn't care about anything, which in turn made me not care about her or the book. So she doesn't care about anything. A lot of the book is taken up by that. The rest is just like, oh, and then I walked over to this place, and then I walked over to this place. And on the way, I saw this thing. But there's no, like, character interaction. There's about 4 scenes where the characters actually interact with each other. And the rest of the time, it's just the biologist walking around. And then the other half of the time, it's just, oh, I used to go to ponds. Like, fucking, who cares? Who cares? You know, so, like, none of the flashback stuff links with the Area X stuff. None of the stuff in Area X is particularly interesting. And then, like, at the end, there's a glimmer of something that could have been interesting. But by that point, I was so checked out, I just didn't care, you know? Like, there's, like, oh, like, and it's, like, in the last 20 pages, Jeff Vandermeer, like, pulls the big, look at the revelation! Oh, my God, isn't it such a big... But it's like, I don't care at this point. Like, you've got... I don't care about the biologist. I don't care about Area X. I don't care about the mystery. It's rubbish. And I've heard in other reviews that obviously this is a trilogy, right? But the books are quite short. So I read that you were like supposed to read it as like one tome. But I get the feeling that there's so little in here that this was like the first third of a novel, that he's carved off the last 2/3 and just put in some filler in here. Because I could see that working, right? Like, you have this intro to a novel, it's like 50 to 75 pages where you don't know the character's name, and like this crazy event happens, and then you explore the mystery in the later parts of the book. I could buy that, I could get into that, you know, but like a whole book, like 200 pages of just fucking nothing happening, and then like us expecting us to give a shit at the end when your characters aren't developed at all. It's, I don't know. Like, this would have worked if it were 100 pages shorter or 250 pages longer, in my opinion. So make of that what you will. I know a lot of people like this book. It really wasn't for me. Like, it's something that I probably should have enjoyed, but I just didn't like the way it was executed, so it's a thumbs down from me, guys. So that brings us to the penultimate, the penultimate book of Sci-Fi September. I am going to get the final review out before the end of September. We are not dragging this into October. It's not happening. I'm almost done with it. I've got 95 pages left to go. And, you know, given it took me a whole week to read 200 pages, that might scare you, right? But the book I'm currently reading, started it last night, like after finishing Annihilation, and read 110 pages literally overnight. So I'm going to finish it before Sunday. Let's just not worry about that. We'll get the review out. And until then, I'll say goodbye now. Bye.